Scotty Poo.
What up, guys?
Hi, Scott.
Hi, how is everybody?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. Well, let me show you what I look like now. Check this out.
Yeah,
What up?
Wow.
See, I got a hard hat and everything. Wait, let me look all official. Let me see here. Ta-da!
Wow.
You're the man.
Yeah, I'm doing construction now, so it feels pretty good. Yeah. So how's everybody? I haven't seen some of you guys in a year.
Yeah, you haven't talked to us in a year.
What show?
No. But I'm really glad we're having you here. What are we talking about today?
The paranormal, hon. The paranormal.
Ghosts and stuff?
Yep.
Sure.
Can you see me very well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about now?
Got an eye on you.
Wait, hold on a second. I got something. Is it weird when you do like a face-to-face time with somebody, but you really only look at yourself? I don't know if that's me. That's what I do. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's really good to see you. I'm gonna go with something here. So you guys are still doing ghost hunting and stuff. Do you guys get a chance to go out and do much ghost hunting, or what?
It's the first day, Scott.
These days.
Yeah, we're going to 5 places. 6. 6 places.
6? That's more than I've done in a year, probably.
Guys, introduce yourselves, okay?
We have been doing some really cool stuff lately. Let's see if I can stay out of the sun here.
I guess you don't care who you are.
I'm on a naval base, so they may cut me off. I don't know how that works. So the equipment you guys are using, are you going like new school or old school? What I mean is, are you guys using like K2 meters, or are you using like compasses and bells, or?
What's the best? Ask them the best equipment.
What's in your experience? What's the best equipment to use?
You know, I've been doing this for a long time. My parents were paranormal investigators. One of my grandparents was, so I kind of fought it as a kid. I was embarrassed because back when I was a kid, it was like, you know, Dad with a turban doing a Ouija board at car shows was like, you know, and then all my friends at school were like, hey, why'd your dad? But my mom and dad taught me things, and back then we didn't have all this cool blinky light stuff, and some of that equipment was very inexpensive, and it still is to buy. So when I go to locations, I'll always try to go old school first. So we'll go in there, and we'll always set a bell up, a small bell hanging from something for communications. Over the last 30-something years, it's rang like 3 times, but it's there just in case, you know. So it's sort of effective, I guess you would say. There's not a lot of false positives when it comes to having a bell. It's either it rings or it doesn't ring. It's not like you're going to get a recording that could possibly be Get Out, or it could possibly be your name or something. It's pretty much, if it rings, something made it ring. So that was always a cool thing. And my mom was really into EMF, but we didn't have K2 meters and stuff back when I was a kid, or back when I was younger. We would use a compass. Now, if you guys have a compass, if you don't, you really need to put one in your little arsenal there, because it's pretty important. So if you were to take a compass, I don't know if have you guys used K2 meters before?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that sometimes if somebody's texting in the room, or it could cause the K2 meter to like blink multiple lights?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Answer.
That would be a false. You know, it'd be a false positive. If you were to take a K2 meter and you set it on the table, and you took a compass, just a basic compass, and you set it on the table as well, and you took your cell phone and you start texting, watch the compass. Okay. The compass won't move. So here we are, but not as much as the K2 meter. You see the K2 meter just blinking like crazy, but the compass will move just a little bit, okay? So the compass is actually picking up electromagnetic fields as well. Using that, back in the day, that's really all we had. So using that is kind of cool. So you know, you've got a bell and you've got a compass. Put these into places where we're like, let's say if we're going to Bodie or some old ghost town, Virginia City, or someplace like that, where if you were to take a gun out of your pocket and cocked the firing back and set on the table. Those old Western ghosts would know that that's a gun and a can't hurt them. They recognize it. It's familiar to them. They know what that is. But a lot of times when we go into places, we'll have these blinky lights and stuff like that. And if I'm a dead person from the 17 or 1800s, I might be a little apprehensive or a little bit scared of something. I was like, what are these people doing? I mean, I'm already stuck here in this place, so they're going to make it worse. But they don't really realize what's going on there because it's something they don't recognize. But using a bell and a compass at these particular locations, they're going to remember those. They know what those are. So when they see that, I think it's a little less, intrusive or a little less. If they're more familiar with it, and if I, like I said, if I was a dead person from the 1800s and I saw a bell, or I saw a compass, I would be more apt to kind of hang out and maybe communicate with the people. To me, it seems like I love gadgets. Don't get me wrong. I love the SOS camera. I love everything. I love everything that you use to find ghosts. But then I think about it. Do we want to investigate the ghosts? Do we want to put them on the stand and ask them questions? Because in my travels, being an old fart than I am, I've noticed probably 80% of the people I've met in life are shy. Like myself. Maybe ghosts don't want to be sitting. Yeah, I am. See, I don't know. There's some adult content out there that. Anyway, so it wasn't my fault. I needed the money, and the Travel Channel paid pretty good. So. I always think that maybe they just want to hang out. Maybe they don't want to be like, hey, what's your name? Or where'd you go to elementary school? Or unless it was a really good elementary school. These questions, because I know how I am in a group of people, and I don't know if you guys are the same way, especially a group of people I don't know. I'm not going to throw my name out there. Hey, it's like when you go to one of those kids thing and they make everybody stand up and introduce themselves. No, I would not go, because then I would stand up and say, my name's Scott, I'm an alcoholic. Or I don't know what I'd say, but I tend to shy away from groups. Well, I'm thinking that most of the people that I meet in life are the same way. As in life, so in death, maybe they're shy. Maybe they don't want to. Here's an example. At the end of the night, when we're packing up equipment, you guys may have experienced this as well, and you're kind of putting away all the recorders, and you're putting away all the lights, or you're putting away the cameras, and you're all kind of, you're kind of tired, and you're being funny, and everybody's joking around. Bam, something happens, and everybody's quiet. They go, whoa, what was that? See, I have a feeling when we're in that mode, when we're in the mode where we're all just joking around and having fun, and these kind of things, an outsider, a shy person, would be more apt to come up to a group of people that are just kind of open to everybody, laughing and having a good time. It seems like maybe they just want to be part of instead of investigated. So, in saying that, a lot of times we'll use comedy, or we'll just talk to them, We'll go into a room and we'll just be like, talk to each other with the recorder going. I learned this from Marco De Constantino. Where they would go into a room and they would set the recorder out and they would argue or talk about shopping or bills or whatever people talk about, right? And joking around, maybe talk about Facebook, I don't know, just talk. And they would get all these responses of something talking either over them or along with them. And of course they wouldn't get it until they would rewind to listen to it. So maybe that theory isn't too whack, Maybe ghosts are kind of shy, Maybe they just want to be part of. I remember growing up, I was very shy, and we moved around to like a lot of different places. My dad had a company where he would pack us up and move us every 3 months. I went to like 5 second-grade schools, But I was always the new kid in school, and I was very, very shy, crippling shy. I'd be just like horribly shy. And then I have to I take back from that, I think how I was at that time. Could there possibly be people out there that are the same way? And I choose to think yes, It is not wrong to sit around and ask questions. That's really good structure. A lot of people will do that. It could have good structure format of how you're going to do an investigation, and the word investigation is what you're doing. So but maybe mix it up a little bit, on one of these ones you guys are going to, or the next one you guys go to, maybe just hang out, I have met so many people in the paranormal that do different types of, what's the word, enticement. I've seen people wear period clothing, or they dress like the old days, or I met a lady one time who baked cookies. And it was really cool and very tasty. She baked cookies for the other side. She would entice them with smells, and I'm like, well, do they have noses? I mean, I don't know. But when she would bake cookies or she would bake bread, things would happen at her house. She lived in an old farmhouse, and maybe the owners before her had they did that. So really, any form of enticement or anything like that is always welcome. Today, wait, hold on a second. Sorry about that. Today we have so many different types of investigating, and you watch the television shows, and I watch all of them. I don't care what it is. If it was like, if they had like anything, it doesn't matter. I watch them all. There's a lot of people that bag on the paranormal shows, or they think it's, you gotta remember, it is TV, it's entertainment, but that's how a lot of us learn. A lot of people that came after me started watching Ghost Hunters in 2001, or 2000, and that's a long time ago, especially for you guys. I wouldn't even know if you were around then. But the fact is that there is something to all those kind of things. So we will take whatever we can. We'll read some good books. There are some out there. The more, it's cool because the better the books are, the cheaper they are on Amazon. So it's weird. It's like the really good ones are like $2 or $5. I'll link you guys for sure.
What's he doing?
Sorry.
He's shaking his balls.
No, it's like I'm getting a gasoline smell. If I burst into flames, will you guys just
911.
put it on Facebook for me?
911.
Yeah, of course.
We'll have video.
Do you guys have any questions?
Yes, you'd have questions.
Good guys.
I have to put my phone my ear by the phone. It's loud out here.
What's your favorite state to investigate?
My favorite what now?
Favorite state?
I'm gonna have to say Massachusetts. I mean, if I was pronounced it right. If that's what you mean, like a state, like that we live in.
Yeah, like
hell's-
like the United States, like.
He's on a label.
Yeah, I've been everywhere and I've been all over the place. Texas has some great stuff. California is really weird because there's so many here. I mean, I tend to think that maybe it's just become really kind of Hollywoody sort of out here. Everybody wants to jump on that bandwagon, but there are some good places out here. Wolf Manor was one of them. Linda Vista Hospital was another one, but there's still some really good places. But I'm going to go with Massachusetts, because Boston and Salem has always been really a fun thing, because we have the American, we have American history mixed in with it. So, and I never was really into history too much. But I've been down inside the tunnels where some of our forefathers had hid their weapons and things like that. So I enjoy a little bit of history, and a lot of ghosts. So I'm going to go with that. Look at my hair; it's great, huh?
It looks
So, see what I
good.
mean?
Oh.
I can't believe the husband.
Between them. Oh God, what is it? Husband's name?
Is it Debbie and John? He said it, and
Where did you go for your first investigation, and how has your techniques changed over the years?
My first investigation, my true one that I did without my parents, by myself, that was the Brookdale Lodge. It was in 1978, and I was so excited because I just got my driver's license, and I was 16, so that's how old I am. And I drove, and my little hoopty car that was just falling apart, and I got to the Brookdale Lodge, and and I investigated the Brook room, and I saw a woman. And I've only seen. I'm not the lucky one. I don't get to see like a bunch of ghosts. I don't get that full body apparition experience a lot, you know. And I saw a woman, and she was beautiful. And I was 16. I was like, I'm in love, right? And I saw her, and I was. I thought I'd be afraid, you know, because I'm more afraid these days than I was back then. But it was really surreal. It was like, there she is, and she's looking at me, but the techniques, like I said, you know, I had my bell, you know, and I had my compass, and I had this big reel-to-reel. If you guys ever seen these big tape recorders with these huge brown frisbee like reels on them, and that's how we recorded back then. We didn't have little pocket recorders and stuff. So it was very heavy to do that back then. And I remember bringing a friend with me, and the only reason I brought him along is probably, I think, is because he knew the people to get us in there. So anyways, we went in there, and we did it, and we stayed, back then, if we had a little tiny piece of paper move with no wind, that was huge for us. And we would sit there and study that thing for hours, you know. It wasn't like these days where we hear or see something that makes us, okay, everybody focus on this now, let's go in here, we got a voice, we got a person, we got most likely a false positive. Back then it was far more scientific and boring as well, to an extent. So we spent about 14 hours on this piece of paper after this woman showed herself to me, and the paper never moved. It just stayed. But that's how exciting it was back then. It wasn't like like it is now. So the techniques, they're very similar with myself, but I see myself straying off like these SOS cameras and these really cool looking things, because I mean, luckily I have my best friend is a guy named Jeff Conkle. He is the inventor of all the cool stuff. And he hates it when I tell everybody I don't like the cool stuff, but he's absolutely incredible in person. He's my person. And we became best friends, and this guy, I can ask him to build anything. I mean, I told him, and here's how the techniques have changed. I told him I wanted an EVP recorder that I could put on the subway platform in Tokyo, Japan, and only record ghosts. That's one of the loudest places in the world. You know, he said, well, what color do you want it? That's the kind of guy he is. Nice. So we built this isolation chamber thing, and it was small, and it had a camera inside, and it had a recorder inside, and we took it out to construction sites, we took it out to really loud places, and we would play back the recording on it, and we only got one little thing. It said, I'm here. I mean, there was no sounds of traffic or noises. He actually did it very well. He made this thing. Again, the better the equipment, the more boring the investigation, because a lot of people work on these false positives where they hear stuff or they see stuff, and we don't really understand that, you know, it's probably a dog barking outside or it's something else. And unfortunately, that's, you know, ghosts aren't everywhere. They're semi-rare, but I believe that if you guys as a group go in a place, they know you're not so threatening, not that because you're children, because you're new, you know, and just be careful, you know. And what I mean by that is, you know, when we are younger in the paranormal, not age-wise but experience-wise, we tend to be targets for things that may not be such good things from the other side.
Guys, questions?
Is there any really popular place that you've investigated that just didn't live up to the hype?
I wish I could say it, but I can't. Yes, there's about 300 of them. But, it's not. Yes, the answer is yes. And unfortunately, I'm doing some work this year on a lot of these places, so I can't name them. But I got one. There's the Showdown Cafe, which is destroyed now because I can do this. Oh man, everybody, you got to go to the Showdown. You got to go to the Showdown. And this is in 1980 something. Oh man, everything's haunted there. And it's like, it's not. You know, and it kept going, and nothing. You know. And it was all about the rave. Everybody was going. Everybody was cool. And it just didn't deliver for me. Now, that being said, Okay, say me and two of you guys go out and do a location. We go to the Stagecoach Inn. No, we go to Eastern State Penitentiary, okay? Just us three, two, you and me. We go into this place and we go into cell number 16 and we talk to the guy that hung himself and nothing, okay? Then we go outside the parking lot, we get two more of you guys and we bring him in and we leave me outside. You might get something. See, I believe that we're all a type of energy and the equation of all our different energies may be the something that makes it happen. And that's what we're really searching for. It's that perfect equation. Not just saying, hey, hey, Benji sucks. He's not going to with us because the ghost never shows up because Benji's there. I'm not going to do that. But believe me, I have a lot of Benjis in my life. It's like they made, okay, let's see. Okay, I'll tell you guys something about myself. Okay, I went to bed till I was like 11 years old. So it was like this thing with me, and it made me
never
who I am
asked him
today. I'm glad it happened, but that's something that maybe something on the other side may connect with because they know it. Or maybe one of us is went to Future Farmers of America. No, one of us was in 4-H, okay, or Scouts. Okay, we're Scouts, and then we go to a place, and one of the dead friends was a Scout. So it really, when people say living up to the expectations, there are a lot of these places that are like on TV or in books or on websites that are just blown way up. And we have that thing in our heads like, we're going to find a ghost because we're going to this place. It says that this cell number 16 in Eastern State Penitentiary is the most haunted place in the world. So I know I'm going to go there and I'm going to get something. So do we put that in the back of our heads where we are so apt to get something? We're so positive that we are going to get something on our investigation that anything will work. So we hear a noise. Well, okay, what is that noise? Is that noise a human noise, mechanical noise, whatever it was? In our head, it's a ghost. It's already in there, when in fact it isn't. So we really have to be careful how we look at places. Now, we can read books about really cool places, and we can take our own experience, yours and mine, and approach these investigations that way, instead of going in there like, okay, we are going to catch that ghost because everybody else is. It's fun to catch a ghost. I'm not gonna lie. It's fun. It's scary. It's amazing. And I say catch it when I mean record or something. I think it's one of the coolest things I've ever done. That's why I keep doing it. I've jumped out of airplanes. I've raced cars. I've done everything in my life, and nothing compares to that moment that you make contact with the other side. And now I'm gonna tell you, with me, it's rare when you make contact with the other side, and they make contact back.
Question.
Boxers or briefs?
I wear like a thong thing. It holds a K2 meter. It's the grossest thing.
You use that instead of a nickel?
Yes. So I got one for Father's Day. Not for my kids. That'd be weird. They got me one for Father's Day, and I took it to Jeff, my person. I said, Jeff, what can you make out of this? He goes, and he gives it back, and it's got like IR thing.
Your thong?
The thong or the nickel?
Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. He made a full scrotum camera.
Oh, you should get one of them, Mike. Your dad needs a full scrotum camera.
You don't want to see Mike's scrotum. Stop. You see his butt all the time.
Please stop.
Please Google it after I'm gone.
Kids camp.
Yes, I forget. I'm sorry.
No, she's talking about us. God,
Oh, but a kid at heart, right?
You're behaving.
My boss is here staring at me.
Oh,
No, not my boss.
Somebody else's boss.
somebody else's.
Don't smoke cigarettes, whatever you do. It's the thing you can do on an investigation because all the little whiffs of smoke, they're demons. That's what everybody says.
You should have quit, Scott.
Don't answer, please. Don't knock on doors. Is it knocking? Don't knock on doors.
Notice how he didn't hear that.
Knock on doors. What else did he say last year?
Don't do drugs. Don't knock on doors.
Don't go through your children's tours.
Do you have any advice for the kids, Scott?
Okay.
Say
Do you have any good advice for the kids?
it again.
I do. Couple things. One, never go in a place you're not invited, and that's not from the other side. That's from the people that own the place. There's a really cool place down the street, and the windows are broken out, and there's full of graffiti, and everybody's doing it. No, don't do it.
And don't
There's
do
a place on the
drugs.
Queen Mary called the First Class Pool, and I'm the only investigator that I have ever met that has never broke into that place. You know why? Because they don't break into places, and don't you either. So there's a reason they're locked up. Safety for one, and another, it belongs to somebody else. So the best piece of advice is, if you're going to do an investigation of a place and you're allowed to go in there, don't go walk in places that you're not allowed to be in. And I'm serious. This is from the heart. Go there during the day. Do your sweep during the day. Someone says, well, we got this really cool old factory that back in the day I used to grind up children. I mean, I don't know, whatever it did.
Grind up
But-
children.
Which is actually a really cool place. So go there. Go during the day. Get your footing. Take pictures. Take pictures of the ground. Take pictures of low-hanging objects. Look for things that are going to hurt you at night. See if there's bats in there. See if there's rodents in there. See if there are things that are going to give you false positives. Always do that during the day, unless it's been deemed as safe. And I hope for one day, and I hope one of you youngsters do this, build a society that has a stamp or a sticker that can go to these places. And if it has that safety sticker on it from kids camp, if it's got the kids camp safety sticker of approval, then it's safe to go inside.
We need a
I
safety
think
sticker.
that's part of the best advice I could ever give you, because we want you guys to hang around. I don't want to catch you on a recorder. I'd rather just meet you in person.
Well, you're invited anytime, Scott. You know that.
Don't doubt, Egg.
You're invited here anytime.
All right, I'm coming. See that bulldozer over there?
We've been Skyping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's somebody doing my job, so I
What's
gotta
up?
let you guys go. I love you guys. Be safe, okay, please?
Scott, we need you to say who you're gonna call.
Okay, ready?
Set.
Go ahead.
Who are you gonna call?